Rock Talk with Tyson Bryden.
Welcome to Nonstop Rock Talk. I am your host, as always, Tyson Bryden. On today's show, I'm very happy to welcome from Babylon A.D. singer Clive Davis. Derek, welcome. How's it going?
It's going great, man. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for joining me. It's been some time since we spoke, probably. I think during COVID, actually. I think way back when.
Long time ago.
I know. It's something that I think most of us want to forget.
It's fault.
So, I mean, just over a year ago, Babylon A.D. released Rome Wasn't Built in a Day, which is a stellar album, by the way.
Thank you.
With that said, it sounds like Babylon A.D. has remained busy since the release of that album. It was just announced that When the World Stops will be released before the end of the year on Cavell Records. I'm kind of curious about the speedy process between the two albums.
What do you mean by that?
Well, what do you attribute that to? Were you guys just, like you've got so much material and you just wanted to get back into the studio and keep this thing going?
Yeah, basically. I mean, I'm always writing pretty much 20 hours a day, I think. And the guys keep coming up with ideas, so there's no reason to stop. If there wasn't any ideas and you had to try to force them out, then it would take a lot longer. But we still have maybe another 5 or 6 songs that we didn't even record for this album that we know could have went on this album. It's just you got to pick your best 9, 10, 11 songs. Or what you think it is at the moment.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, tell me about this material on The World Stops. In the press release, you mentioned this album is going to blow people's minds. There's so many types of Babylon A.D. songs on this one.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit. I'm not going to say a departure from the last album, but there's definitely some cool stuff on there that we haven't really done before. Like there's one track called "Love Is Cruel," and it's a really great ballad, but it's got this beautiful arpeggio type of, Elton John meets Lady Gaga piano through the whole song. Okay. And then there's a piano solo at the end. And there's a lot of songs. There's some, really killer up-tempo, right in your face kind of songs. And then there's some songs that are a little bit more in depth and a little bit more landscaped and beautiful, So I think this album is going to trip people out a little bit, man, because it's like our second album we had a lot of different types of songs too, and even on our first album we had like Sally Danced, which was totally different than Bangle the Bells or Hammer Swings Down, you know what I mean? So I think that's what I'm trying to say, that you're going to get some different variations of Babylon A.D.
You know what, it's funny that you mentioned that first album, because I was listening to Shot of Love yesterday. I have it on a playlist and it came on. And I never realized how amazing your scream in that song was. It was like, it kind of caught, I was like, holy shit, I've never noticed that before. I've listened to the album 1,000 times, which I think is amazing when you think of the fact that something that you've been listening to for over 30 years, something new captures you, right?
Yeah, the same thing happens to me all the time listening to music. I'll listen to a song that I think I've heard. I just heard that the other day on a Rolling Stones song. I'm just like, how in the hell did I never hear that before? A song that I've heard, like you said, 1,000 times. Yeah. So it's crazy, man. Production is, I think it just kind of seeps in. And like when I'm producing songs and writing and stuff like that and mixing, I think everybody's going to hear everything I'm doing, Yeah. But it puts in perspective that they really don't hear everything. They just hear the meat for a long time before they start getting into the intricacies of, the instruments and things, of the little sounds that you don't even pick up on,
Yeah, and it's funny, like, when I listen to Bangle the Bells, because I try to listen to the background vocals because I know there was other singers on that song, and I'm, like, trying to pick up, like, I was like, no, there's no way you can hear, I just hear you know what I mean? You hear that background, but you don't necessarily hear anybody else. It sounds like Babylon A.D., you know what I mean?
It's a pretty nice blend. I think when we were doing the mixing at one particular point, Simon Hanhart, the engineer who produced the album, he had the background vocals pretty hot. where it was, I had to tell him, I said, wait a minute now, that don't sound like us.
Yeah.
You know, we need Rob and Ron's voice and my voice out front. The other guys are just weight.
Yeah.
You know, and if the first couple mixes, he had the other stuff way out there. You know, it sounded like Baton Rouge or something almost.
Oh, really?
And I was like, no, man, we gotta kind of keep this real, you know, because we got to go out and play it, right? There's only 3 of us singing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
So, yeah. And I mean, it's funny when I heard that other people could come in to sing. I guess it was more of like a texture thing to build up a vocal.
Yeah. Back then, man, everybody was just putting 50 vocal tracks on a background, you know. I don't do that anymore. Even if I have like what you would say, oh, that's a big chorus. You know, it's just me and one other guy. Maybe we double it one time in stereo, put it on stereo. It still sounds big to me.
Yeah.
You know?
No, and you know what? I love it when you go to a concert and you hear it and it sounds like what is on the album. You know, those background vocals, because you know that the guys in the band sang those.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That album for me will always, I mean, there's always going to be stuff that I'm going to find new, which I think is amazing. Now, Rome Wasn't Built in a Day was released on Paris Records. When the World Stops, we'll see the band move to Cavell Records. Was there a reason for moving labels?
Not really. Yeah, there really wasn't a reason. I mean, Tom and I are good friends, and we worked with Tom for years, you know, doing different stuff. He's put the distribution out for us several times for Apocalypse Records, and then sometimes we just sign a licensing deal with him, you know. And Tom is about ready to retire. So, you know, talking with him as how much energy it was going to take him for this album, you know, it was going to take all his energy when you know, he's getting ready to retire. So it's like he was going to give it one last push. But then we talked to John Kibble quite a bit. And he was like, you know, man, just please let me do this album. You know, let me do this album. I'll do you guys right, this and that, you know. It had the best pitch for us, you know?
Yeah.
So we went with that record label. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. So now in terms of recording When the World Stops, you spent the early part of this year recording the album. I assume the writing took place last year. And like you said, you guys are kind of always writing.
Mm-hmm. I guess most of it was last year. There was a couple songs that I've had in the can, to be honest with you, for years. A couple of them that I've just had and always knew they were really, really, really good. And everybody that's heard the demos went, man, why aren't you putting this out, you know? And I just say, you know, it's a great song, but, you know, I just wasn't ready for it or something, you know? Yeah. And then if I don't listen to a song for maybe 4 or 5 years that I wrote before that I knew, it's always in the back of my mind, you know? Like, for instance, we have a song called Toxic Baby and another one called Torn on there, which I wrote several years ago, but they're ass-kicking rockers, you know? And when I let the band hear it, and they went, what? How come we haven't been playing this? You know? And I went, you know, I mean, I produced it and did it 5 years ago. I'm kind of, you kind of you're always excited about the new stuff you're writing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're always just going forward with the new stuff. So whenever you got to look backwards, you feel a little funny, I think. But those tunes, you know, they transpired really well for this album.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to hearing it. So it's going to be released later in the year, most likely?
Actually, it's going to be released in right before we go on a European tour.
Oh, wow.
So it'll be out last week of August, first week of September, right before we leave for the UK. And our first single's coming out, When the World Stops. That's going to come out, hit radio and video on the 5th of August.
Wow.
Yeah, in a few days, I guess about a week from now. And then we play the Whiskey on the 8th and basically open up the world, you know, the World Stops tour to the rest of the world.
That's awesome. I mean, I haven't seen the band since, I can't even remember, like 10 years ago. So, and the band's changed. So 2 new members, new drummer, new bass player. So hopefully I will get out and see that because I'm excited to, I mean, on record, the lineup sounds phenomenal.
Yeah, really, really good players, really easy to work with, no problems in the studio, work really fast. We always record the drums live at a different recording studio than my recording studio, just because mine's more smaller and more, more compact, and I don't have the proper microphones, I don't think, to record the drum sound that I'm looking for, you know. But yeah, really easy working with the two new guys. I think we played 9 songs, all Babylon A.D. songs, and they played them just like they were supposed to be played. We didn't have.
So, I mean, getting to the live show, how are you guys incorporating the material now?
Well, so we play quite a bit off the first album. I'd say 5-6 songs off the first album. We play a couple off the second album. We try to play at least one song off every album we've done, you know, so that every song is represented as a small bit, you know. Off this one, I think we're going to play 4 songs. Off Rome Wasn't Built in a Day that we just finished, that we did put out last year, I think we'll play 3 songs. So altogether, we're looking at about 16-song set.
That's
you
a
know,
long set.
Yeah, it's and usually we play about a 14-song set, but since now we've incorporated some more songs from this album, you know, it's zapped it up to about 16, which is about an hour and a half. And you know, I think people could sit through us for an hour and a half.
Oh,
I'm hoping so.
I know I could. I'm biased on it though, because I mean I love the band. So, is Love Blind still in there, or have you guys taken that out?
No, Love Blind is not in there. That's a great song, man. I've always liked that song. You know, it gets to a point where you just got too many to choose.
Yeah.
I mean, really, you know, we're looking at our sets and going like, you know, there's actually 26 songs here that we could play that you know, are good songs and we like them and we play them well. But it's like, man, you got to figure out where to cut it, you know?
Yeah.
It's tough.
And I think back to our last interview when you talked about psychedelic sex reaction, and we had discussed that and the whole story behind that. And I'm sitting here laughing to myself because I'm thinking, I know that song's not going to be in there.
No, that song's never been in the set.
No, I know, and I remember, and I mean, I chuckled to myself because you told me the whole story about how that all went down, and which I still laugh about that because. I mean, it
is a funny story. I gotta tell you, man.
It is, and you guys like sticking to your guns. I thought that was so cool that you guys just said, no, we're not doing it.
I don't know. I still don't know if that was the dumbest thing we ever did or the smartest thing we ever did. I don't know.
Well, it shows integrity. I mean, you put it on the album, but it was probably one of those ones that you're like, we'll put it on there, but we'll probably.
Well, we had to put it on there because Clive Davis forced us to put it on there unless we weren't going to have an album come out that year.
Really?
So it was kind of like blackmail, you know, our arms were tied behind our back, you know. He told me straight up, if you don't put this song on the album, Derek, until you write a smash hit like I think this song is, your album's going to sit in limbo. So it was like, holy smokes, what do we do? We're already in the recording studio with Tom Werman working on all the tracks, you know.
Well, I kind of disagree with him because I think Bad Blood was a better song. And I think it was a good...
Absolutely. It's not to say Psychedelic Sex Reaction wasn't a great song. It just wasn't a Babylon A.D. song.
Yeah.
That's all.
Bad Blood was kind of more, you know, it kind of fit in line to what was on the first album.
A lot of radio programmers thought we should have done Take the Dog Off the Chain. And I agree. I think that song was a little bit more hard-hitting, very melodic, a little bit of AC/DC-ish, you know?
Yeah. That's a good song, too.
Yeah.
I mean, front to back, it was a good album. It was a great album, actually. Mm-hmm. I mean, I still listen to it. I'm always curious about the cover of that album, though.
Oh, my God. That is the worst cover.
Well, it's confusing because it's got yourself and Rob on it, and was it not a poster?
I know, and it's. I'm looking at it right now, and it's got orange and like dark blue. And when we seen this album, all the artwork, we went. I mean, our heads exploded. We went, what? No way, you know.
Yeah.
And this isn't anywhere near what we think the album should look like. And they were the record company was basically, well, the artwork's done, and we're not changing it. Too bad.
Really.
You know?
Yeah, because it's kind of confusing too. Because you're like, why is there only 2 guys on the cover?
I don't know. I think maybe you open it up and the rest of the guys are there. You know?
I think it had a poster. I think it opened up to this. You know how they used to do that? They scrunch all this stuff into it. I'm not sure what was on the vinyl. Maybe it looked the same. I have no idea. But it was. I was thinking that the other day as I was writing my notes for the interview. I was like, I wanted to ask you that because I kind of figured that it was probably not your decision.
No, it wasn't our decision at all. It was a great photo shoot too. So it was we were kind of taken aback because the photo shoot that we did was at this really cool place on top of a mountain that was like, avant-garde artist place where just had all these weird statues and all this crazy shit everywhere. I mean, it was out of this world, man. It would be in like a great futuristic movie or something, you know?
Yeah.
And all that imagery kind of just went out the door, you know?
Really?
It was weird.
Did you guys get to name the album at least, or did they do that as well?
Yeah, we were able to name the album. That was all. That was about the only thing we got to do on that one.
Well, I mean, in comparison, when you think about the first album, the album cover itself it says Babylon A.D. because it looks the logo and the way, you know, the color scheme, and it looks like something from back in the day almost. You know what I mean? And it fit.
I know exactly what you mean, because when we did that album, everybody was putting their covers, their faces, and, you know, the pictures of the band. Hey, look at me, kind of thing, you know. And we were like, you know, man, we don't want to be known as one of those kind of band. We want to be like how our heroes were, you know, just kind of like, who are these guys? You got to search for a picture of Aerosmith, you know, and then be on the back, you know, like, and then you just stare at that picture, and that's the only picture you got, you know. So we didn't want anything on the album, the front of the album cover of us. We wanted just a band so that the music would speak for itself, you know. And luckily, the record company agreed with us. You know, we just put a little teeny picture of us on the back, you know. But yeah, most of the other bands at the time were everybody just look at me, look at me, look at me, like they still are, you know. So for us, it's kind of like you got to do that nowadays, I think, you know. We try not to as much as we can, but at the same time, you know, you got to have a brand, you know. People want to know what you look like and stuff, you know. I just don't want that to take over from the music.
Yeah. But you guys, I mean, besides that album cover, your album covers are always amazing. They're always great. They're very visual, right?
Yeah, I think the rest of them came out good. That's because we did the rest of them. You know, it was our vision. Like, hey, well, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Even when we signed with Frontiers Record in 2017, they let us do all the artwork. Yeah. You know, we said, hey, you know, we could do the artwork ourselves, and we'd like to do it ourselves because we have an idea, Revelation Highway. What do we want it to look like? And they said, if you guys think you can do that, go ahead. So we did, you know. And it didn't help that Jamie, our drummer, you know, was a graphic artist. So it wasn't that hard, just putting our minds together and say, what does Revelation Highway mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? What does it look like? You know, what's the picture in your mind? You know. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. I think that artwork, videos, and songs all should go hand in hand. You know, in my mind, when I'm writing a song, lyric-wise, I'm always rolling a video. You know, pictures and words together like a movie. I'm not just writing a song about a girl and getting high and today, that song, right? The lyrical content has a lot of Roman imagery and stuff. So, you know, I put Roman imagery in the video, but it's still it's still a song that talks about, you know, a person that's a drug addict and losing their self, you know, to drugs and stuff like that, and looking for a helping hand, I guess you could say. Yeah. There's many songs like that, but I just try to twist stuff a little bit different way, you know, to make it interesting to me, I think.
and it does, and I kind of attribute that back to from the first album. I seem to recall you saying something about Bang Go the Bells and Hammer Swings Down as being a different analogy to what was going on at the time. I mean, it wasn't as up, you know, like tongue in cheek maybe, but it was more like it made more sense, kind of almost.
Yeah, I to be honest with you, I kind of think some of the lyrics in Bang Go the Bells are kind of cheesy. Yeah. To be honest with you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at that time, I was under a lot of pressure from the record company to write songs that everybody else was doing. It's like, be like everybody else. It's like, well, I want to be like everybody else, man. You know, why can't I do my own thing like Prince does, or, you know, whoever John Mellencamp does, or, you know, Bruce Springsteen. You know, you try to throw that out there, and they're like, no. You just want to stay with like Bon Jovi or something. Let's just get these kind of, you know what I mean? Let's just do this formula. Yeah. So it was always kind of hard for me to swallow some of the stuff that we did in the past, because Arista Records was really hands-on. I mean, they'd read your lyrics over and over again and say, "Can you change this line?" You're like, "What?"
Really?
You know?
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you know what? And it's funny. I thought of Babylon A.D. I just watched the Whitney Houston movie, so Clive's in it, like his part's in there, and I was thinking about you guys, and I was like, was he that hands-on with you guys as he was with her?
Absolutely. He listened to every demo that we did. Didn't matter where we made it or what we did. Sometimes he'd call me up and tell me, "Hey, Derek, this is a good song, but I don't hear the chorus." He's always looking for the hit. He's always looking for the smash hit. And that's what he thought Psychedelic Sex Reaction was.
Right.
He's always just looking for that different way. He thought Desperate was a smash hit. He thought it was as big as Dream On, But then Arista never released it. So what's the frickin' point?
I still think it could have been too. I mean, I remember the first time hearing it. I had the tape initially, right? Pop the tape in, listen to the album, and then this fourth song comes on, and I was like, this should be a hit. And,
I mean, everybody thought so. I mean, and we were supposed to release that as our third single, and it should have been our third single, and that probably would open up a lot of doors for us. Even Guns N' Roses, Sweet Child of Mine. The only reason they were breaking big was because of a ballad.
Yeah.
Even though they had cool songs, rockin' songs, the ballad broke them, right?
Yeah.
And here we were at the same exact time, and Arista was like, "No, let's don't put out that ballad. Let's do Kid Goes Wild instead."
For the movie, for RoboCop.
The movie, exactly.
Right.
So really screwed us bad, man. Because who knows, man? Sky's the limit, and we flew as high as we can with that.
Yeah. Well, it is. I mean, hindsight, right? So,
exactly.
I mean, going into the second album, and speaking of Clive, so he was still, I mean, he forced you to put that song on the album, but were they still as supportive as they were on the first album? Being the times and everything?
It seemed like it was starting, you could feel it. It was starting to slip a little bit because Nirvana had just broke, and Soundgarden came out, and then, the whole Seattle grunge scene started coming, and then Arista, I think, the marketing department started feeling like they were behind their gun. Hey, how come we don't have one of these bands? That kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, our second album came out in February of 92. And we were dropped in, June, I think it was 93. So, and we had, 2 singles or something like that, Because by that time, by summer of 93, man, grunge was just everywhere, So every band like us, even Warrant, anybody, even if you sold 2 million records, just like, you're out of here,
That must have been tough to swallow. That must have been a hard, what do we do now?
Basically, sometimes, it sounds messed up, but, we were all young, man, and all we did was just party and do crazy shit for years, And then it was time I guess we have to grow up, get real jobs, be normal people or something, get married, have kids, go back to college, So we were basically like a big giant frat party for about 8 years, And then the walls came crumbling down and we had to just find our footing of what we were going to do next in life,
Yeah. And I think, before that time in the first album, and you and I think, have touched on this before, all those songs were more or less new, right? That went on the first album. It was kind of like everything that was on the Persuaders demos that was released, after the fact. Mm-hmm. And then some of them were on Revelation Highway. They did they not think they were strong enough?
That was one of the reasons we got signed, because we had a 5-song EP that we gave to them with a video that we made ourselves. And they were like, wow, these are great songs. And then as time progressed, each one of those songs would kind of get left off. So Bangle the Bells was one of our songs from the Persuaders. Shot of Love was from the Persuaders. I think Sweet Temptation was from the Persuaders. So there was a few songs that were, that weren't totally new.
Okay.
But it's funny you point that out, because what's crazy is we have a song called Don't Ask Questions, And we put that out on our demo tape. And that has got so much action over the years. There's so many fans telling us, you got to put this song out. And even talking with our friends back in the day, like, hey, man, you guys, how come you don't ask questions? That song is a smash. You hear this from all your friends and relatives over the years. Over 30 years, you hear this, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you're like, so this year, when we started doing this record, Dylan, our drummer, goes, what about that song, Don't Ask Questions, man? I mean, I see fans all the time telling you guys to do the song. Why aren't we doing that song? We all went, fuck it, let's do it.
That's
and
awesome.
It came out great, man. It came out great. It still sounds modern. It still sounds like Babylon A.D. It's hard hitting, but at the same time, it's got a good groove, good melody, good storyline. I wrote this song 30 years ago.
That's crazy. That's amazing.
Yeah, it is crazy, And I just tell people, people understand, man, a good song is a good song.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter when it was written, how long ago, People think that you got to put an expiration date on a song. You don't. You could find a song that you wrote 30 years ago, like I said, and just, hey, you know what? This song is still good. Why don't we ever do anything with this thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
so I think it just has its time and place.
I mean, it's great that, the grunge era ended and you guys were able to come back more or less, and do music again and put out albums again, because for a guy like me, that was a strange time. I was a guy who listened to most of the bands that came out, and I loved the era, and then all of a sudden it was like, I can't find it anymore, and what am I going to do now?
Yeah, I know.
It was tough.
I know exactly what you mean, man. There was a lot of years for me, I think, in the mid 90s and stuff. I didn't even pay attention to music, man, to be honest with you. You could have told me the biggest hit artist in the world, and I would say, who? I didn't even pay attention for probably a good 6-7 years. I just started getting into old blues stuff and old soul, Marvin Gaye, Al Green, James Brown, Bobby Womack, and I would just listen to that shit over and over. I didn't want to have nothing to do with hard rock or metal or anything like that. It was it was kind of sour for me,
I think for me, I kind of tried to evolve and went with some of the heavier bands, and which I don't listen to now, because I was trying to find something that remotely reminded me of. So then you'd go back to the 70s, and it was like, find more 70s stuff. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Even today, I find myself, it sounds crazy, but I listen to stuff like, my wife thinks I'm nuts because she hates the shit like Simon and Garfunkel, Bob Dylan, I'm listening to that stuff all the time. Just, things that people don't listen to anymore. But I try to tell her, honey, this is where the lyrics are, though. This is where the stories are.
Yeah.
The songs nowadays, there's no stories. There's no mini movie moving along. You listen to this stuff, there's a movie. You could watch it as you're listening to the songs.
So true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And nowadays, you don't really get to watch a song anymore and get the imagery in your head. She likes Dave Matthews a lot, and I try to point out to her, he's a storyteller.
Yeah.
So why don't you like this stuff? They're just telling stories, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and as a songwriter, I'm sure, that's stuff that you would totally respect that as a songwriter, and I'm sure there's stuff you listen to and go, I wish I wrote that.
Oh yeah, the Beatles, the Stones, great lyrics. They don't leave no fluff on the table, Like I said, Simon and Garfunkel, Bob Dylan, Leonard Cohen. The list goes on and on and on. John Hyatt, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now maybe they're not melodically like, wow, that's the greatest melody I ever heard, but you listen to the lyrics, you're like, damn, man, I want to write a song like that. I want to tell a story like that. How do you get to tell a story like that, Yeah. So that's what I'm kind of always looking for. Even when I'm writing with Babylon A.D., which is in a hard rock vein, I'm always trying to somehow squeeze out some kind of story, something that can be visual,
That's amazing. So will this album, in terms of format, is it going to be on all the streaming sites, physical copies, CDs? Will there be vinyl of this one?
Yes, there'll be everything: CD, vinyl, digital download. What we're going to do is we're releasing the first single. That'll be August 5th. That goes to radio and video and everything. And then about 3 weeks later, we were going to release the CD. That's going to go out for about a month. Then we're going to release the digital about a month later. And then we're going to release an album about a month later.
Cool.
So we're trying to, like stairs, you know what I mean? So you got something to look forward to a little bit more each time, you know?
Yeah, I seem to buy everything on vinyl now, so that's why I asked.
Yeah. It's funny because Tom from Paris Records, he didn't want to do vinyl. You know, we're like, you don't want to do vinyl? He goes, no, man, you know, I get too many returns. I tried it one time, this and that. So on the last record, a company contacted us and it said, hey, you guys want to do vinyl? We said, absolutely, you know. So what we did is when we got all our vinyl, we signed 100 of them, right? And then we sold them online, 100 albums. We sold out of them about 2 weeks ago. $50 a pop. That's $5,000.
I didn't even know that, or I would have bought it. I didn't know it was. I didn't catch that. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm sure you could probably still get it somewhere else online through label distribution. The label was out of the UK. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the name of it right now. But
it's okay. I'll look.
But yeah, so the 100 that we got, we just signed them all and sold them for like $50 a pop, and that's what we're going to do with this next one.
Awesome.
You know,
that's cool. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. Because I don't know if you recall this, but we were talking about the picture of the band on the album and how the first album didn't. Remember, I got a weird copy of the first album with a picture with this picture on it.
Yeah, on the album, yeah.
Yeah,
yep.
which I think it's a European copy. I think you and I had discussed it, and it was such. I ended up buying another copy with the normal cover because I just. It's so weird. Yeah. It's not as good. It's not as good as, you know, I know the music's still the same, but to me as a collector, I'm like, I still have to have the first one with the real cover on.
Yeah. Yeah, I still buy vinyl too, but I'm very, very, very picky. You know, like I bought the last Rolling Stone album about maybe 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah.
You know, good album. I was kind of surprised it wasn't a little bit better, but there's some really cool songs on there, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't think they gave it a lot of promotion on that last album, and I was really surprised.
No, it it was about 2 weeks of promotion, and everybody was talking about it.
Like it?
And then that was it.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like to me, too. Like maybe 2 weeks or a month, and it's like, what happened? There was a couple songs that could be hit songs on it. It's like, why isn't this album doing something, you know?
The demographic's so weird now of how things work.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like back in the day, the single would come out and then the album was out, and the album would have legs because but an album comes out now and it's like dead. Yeah. Dead. And
you know, unfortunately for bands like us, we're still trying to do the old-fashioned way because that's how we grew up, and that's how I think that we like to hear our stuff at our age. You know what I mean? We like collecting vinyl and still having CDs and things like that, something that has, you know, artwork and things like that instead of just a digital, you know, MP3 playing in the background and you go, oh, I like that song, and then you forget all about it, you know. I know that there's a lot of artists that, you know, when I'm reading online, like Facebook and different places like that, there's a lot of artists that say stuff like, oh, there's no reason to make an album anymore. You know, there's no point to it, blah, 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 this, and no one buys records. Who gives a shit and all this stuff? Man, I just say to those guys, you know what it is? You're just lazy, man. Yeah, you got no more artistic stuff in you, bro.
I agree.
It's like a boxer and you're 35 and you ran out of gas and you're just making up excuses. Doesn't matter if 10 people buy your record or 1 million people buy your record. Are you an artist or are you not? You think Rembrandt or Van Gogh would stop painting just because somebody didn't buy their album? I'm sorry, their artwork, which they didn't, right?
Right.
It kind of pisses me off when I see guys like that are singers of bands. At one time, they had a great band, but now are dissing basically people that still put out music. And I'm just saying, brother, step in the ring. You know, if you got something to say, put it out there. If you don't, you just want to get fat and drink beer and, you know, rest on your laurels. That's good for you. You know what I mean? But that's not good for me because I'm dreaming up shit all the time. You know, and I don't see how people that are serious musicians and serious artists aren't thinking up shit all the time. You know?
Do you think it comes down to ego and the fact that they're like, well, I'm not going to sell as many albums as I used to, so what's the point?
That's what I mean. Oh, you know, why should I put in all that work? I'm only going to make $10,000 on this, blah, 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 and I used to make $100,000. You know, it ain't about the money. You know what I mean? For me, sure, that's nice to have a little bit of extra cash and shit like that. But it's about like putting who you are and what you have inside of you out there, you know, and touching people. And maybe you're only touching a tenth of what you used to touch before. But so what, man? Those people, if those people still dig it, you know, then you keep doing it. And to be honest with you, man, I really don't write songs and things like that. Like, oh, what are people going to think about this? And I got it, you know, I just write for myself. And then I hope people like it. If they do, great. If they don't, fuck them. You know?
I like that theory. No, it's true though. Like at the end of the day, when I hear like someone like Babylon A.D. is releasing a new album, that's exciting to me as a fan. So any of the bands that I still listen to after all these years and still follow, I can't wait for new music.
Yeah, look at gosh dang it, Deep Purple put out an album about a year ago, right?
I think so.
How crazy?
Yeah.
How crazy is that? I seen their video and I was like, what the hell? I mean, more power to them, man. You know, they're old dudes now. But I mean, I heard everywhere they played, it was like almost sold out.
That's amazing.
And they're like 80 years old, man. You know what I mean?
That's amazing.
They had enough. They still had a little bit in their tank left to put out another album.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think about that too. I was talking to my son about this yesterday, like talking about how bands like with Ozzy just passing away and how like what's going to happen in 10 years? Like where are we going to be at? What are we going to be able to go see? Yeah,
I know. My boys are all in their 20s and they don't really go see concerts. Sometimes they'll go see my band if I like when we play the Whiskey, things like that. Some of the bigger shows they'll go see. But you know, they're all into dubstep and you know, different kind of rap and things that I don't even know what the hell it is. You know, it sounds like foreign machines to me.
I'm the same.
You know?
I'm the same.
But they go to these rave concerts and they come back all tranquilized for a couple days, it seemed like, you know. But there's 20, 30,000 people going to these places where these DJs are spinning all this crazy shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I didn't grow up like that, man. You know, I just figured that you had to be an artist and you had to write your own shit.
Yeah.
You know?
And play your own shit, too.
You know, make up your own stuff instead of take something from somebody else and then make it, you know? But what do I know, man? I'm just another cog in the wheel of music. I'm still having fun at it, man. If I wasn't having fun at it, I wouldn't do it. You know?
Well, hopefully I'll get out to see Babylon A.D. again in the future. I know it's probably, I mean, I'm up in Canada, right? So I'm in Toronto, so.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't think you guys get up here very much, but I have been down to, when I saw you in 10 years ago, was in Illinois at...
yeah.
Where was
the
that?
Chicago Festival? Chicago something?
It was that festival, Rock and Skull. Yeah.
Rock
and Skull. So,
yeah.
I mean, I have been known to come down there and watch music. Yeah. So, I think that, I mean, a lot of bands don't come up here anymore, unfortunately. It's kind of, I understand the demographic because, I mean.
Yeah, a lot of people don't go to the UK either. I know some friends of mine that play in some pretty big bands, and I'm like, why aren't you over in the UK, man? Oh, man, it's too hard. We don't make no money over there because of our stage sets and shit. You're like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that is. Well, Derek, I want to thank you for joining me today. It was amazing as always. Is there anything you'd like to add before I let you go?
Well, I'd just like to add that, we thank all the fans, especially any fans that are in Canada, you know. The band is still alive. We're still kicking, man. It still feels like it's the first album all over again for us, you know. I mean, we feel pretty reinvigorated since the last album, you know. So we're going to be touring. We're going to be playing. Hopefully come catch us and, you know, check out BabylonADband.com. to find out all the latest news, or join our Facebook group. That's kind of like everybody communicates nowadays.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you very much, and I'm sure we will talk again at some point. And hopefully, I'll see you on the road somewhere. But until then, have a great night.
Yeah, you too, man.
And take care. And best of luck with the album too.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much.
Okay, take care.